everybody, and welcome to the Vintage Voice Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kira Peters, joined by my co-host,
Jessica Rapp.
And this podcast is brought to you by Scottsdale Senior Services, and we are going to be talking about, in this podcast, all things seniors. And today, we are really lucky to have a special guest. And Jessica, you and I just came from Via Linda Senior Center. Our special guest came from Via Linda Senior Center, where we were celebrating Via Linda turning 30. We were surrounded probably by 100 plus of our aging demographic seniors. It was amazing and really, really fun. And with that, I'm just looking forward to introducing Jennifer Murphy, who is an operations supervisor in the senior services team. And Jennifer is going to talk a little bit about her role at the senior centers and what she does. And Jennifer, I have to start off by saying you are a rock star in the amount of people and seniors that you have helped in our community. And we're really excited to hear really about the social service side of senior services from you and your perspective. Did I leave anything out?
No, I think we're good. I just think it's so impressive. And I'm so happy you're here today, Jennifer. That you've worked your entire city career. How long have you worked for the city at the senior centers?
I have been with the City of Scottsdale for 21 years, and all those 21 years have been in senior services.
It's amazing.
That's so impressive.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, so do we want to jump right into it then?
Yes, let's
get started. Are you feeling ready? Jennifer, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Jennifer Murphy, Operations Supervisor specializing in social services. So go ahead and tell us a little bit, give us an introduction to you and how you got into this.
Well, I started my career at the Civic Center Senior Center, and it wasn't necessarily the career path I originally thought I would go in, but it didn't take long before I realized I was in my element. I was there for 2 years, and then I had the opportunity to move over to the Granite Reef Senior Center when it was brand new. And then in 2016, I moved up to the Via Linda Senior Center in a supervisory role. And now I get the pleasure of traveling to both of the senior centers. So I feel like a lucky girl.
All right, so now I want to know, what do you do?
Well, we at the senior centers have an array of services, social services, to assist our clients with basic needs. We assist with things like SNAP benefits, Medicaid programs, lots of acronyms, Access, All-Tex, the Medicaid cost savings. We assist clients with Social Security questions. We have counseling through Jewish Family and Children's Services. It's interesting because every day is a little different. You never know what kinds of issues people will come up and ask for help. You know, the senior centers are like a second home to many. And so they often come to the senior centers, you know, with lots of different questions. So,
you know, Jennifer, Jessica and I were talking in our first inaugural podcast and just about, you know, with the aging population, how overwhelming it can be if you're faced with challenges. And probably not just for the senior that's facing that, but for the family around them. You know, people not knowing what to do when either somebody gets sick or somebody passes away. And how do you manage all of that? You know, especially if you're somebody, you know, who might be in your late 80s, early 90s, or maybe you are someone in your early 50s trying to help your aging parents. So would you say you see a spectrum of population? I mean, do you see the adult children and do you see the 90 plus? Like, what's it like?
we see all of the above.
Okay.
We see those that are 90 and above. We see those at every age range, really, as an adult. And then oftentimes, just like you said, adult children don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And they're calling for information and help, which I'm so glad that we're there to do that, mm-hmm. because that's really important. I can only imagine if I didn't know what I knew and something happened to my parents, how difficult it would be not knowing who to turn to.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad we have the senior centers.
Can I ask you this just about your professional background? I mean, are you a social worker?
Yes, I have a master's degree in social work.
And that's who you work with. Yes,
mm-hmm.
You're a social work expert for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Jennifer, can you just touch base? So if there's anybody out there that needs to contact the senior centers, how do they do that? What's the first step mm-hmm. to making contact with you guys?
The first and easiest way to make contact is to call either front desk at either of our centers. The Granite Reef Senior Center is 480-312-1700, and one of our great front desk staff will take an intake form for you, and those get directed directly to the social work team. Same goes for the Via Linda Senior Center. Their main number is 480-312-5810.
10.
Yep, 5810. Thank you.
We're all nodding our heads in the podcast room.
I almost gave you the fax number by accident, but as a caseworker will get back to you usually within 24 hours or sometimes that very day.
That's really good to know. Would you also say, I kind of feel like in your line of work, Jennifer, is it all hard stuff? Like, is there joy in your work? Or I guess when I think about social workers, and Jessica's nodding at me, it seems like it's really hard work, especially if we're talking about people losing a spouse or losing a loved one or people in distress. Is it down a lot, or do you find joy, and is there joy in this?
Well, there are times that it is challenging and difficult, but I will tell you that from my perspective, I find great joy in what I do. There's nothing more satisfying than being able to assist somebody that's struggling financially, and you learn that they qualify for several programs they didn't even know about. And so you're able to help them financially be more sustainable. So there's a lot of great joy in what I do.
And do you see joy in the seniors you serve?
Oh,
like, that's the other thing, too. I mean, we've seen a lot of fun there, too. But I thought, wow, when you're meeting with social worker, if you're coming to meet Jennifer, maybe you've had something hard happen in your life. And, you know, I guess you probably have to be a cheery person to help someone get through that, you know?
I think that you put your personal feelings aside sometimes and you really focus on how can I best help this person. 9 times out of 10, it's a joyful situation for both parties, myself included and for them. I always feel good when I can make a difference. Sometimes there isn't a good solution, and those are challenging. But you do the best you can, and you help them to the best of your ability. I may have a fantastic plan for someone. That doesn't mean they want to do that plan. And I understand that. I will assist them from wherever they are. If they don't want to make some changes, that's okay. I will do the best I can to assist them with the path they want to go.
Yeah. And Jessica, I know we're talking with Jennifer, you know, who's the expert here, but you manage one of the senior centers, and I know it's not just Jennifer who works here. I mean, she's got a team of people. So I thought maybe one or both of you could talk about the team of social service professionals that support the work you do. You're one of the leaders in senior services, but who's your team?
So I supervise a team of 4 caseworkers. 2 of those caseworkers are housed out of the Granite Reef Senior Center, and I have 2 at the Via Linda Senior Center. One of them's a part-time employee.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got a strong team behind you. And I know, having just come from Via Linda and been at Granite Reef so many times, I think one thing that's special is it's kind of like this mixture of recreation, events, social stuff, but then you're there. And if you need the help, there's social support there for you. You know what I mean? So maybe you were initially just coming for an event, and I think we've heard this story time and time again. And Jennifer, I hope you will share a success story or a story of yours. But one thing I've always found spectacular is that people will come for maybe a mahjong class or come to an event, but then they're surrounded by people and they realize these services are there, and then something happens to them and they need help. So then they're not coming to a senior center necessarily for an event or a class, but they're coming to meet with a caseworker, to talk to someone like you, to get help with some really critical things that are happening in their lives. So I always think that's really a special part of Scottsdale Senior Services. It's like, you know, when people hear, what's that term, wraparound services? But, you know, I mean, it kind of is, because you can get that social part, but you can also get the social work part, or hook to resources like you were talking about, because it can be overwhelming.
I would say more often than not, when somebody comes for assistance with one thing, there's several other things that we find that we can assist them with, and we do. It makes me think of the story of Do you have time for a
Yes,
story?
Jessica, we have time for a story.
We definitely have some time. Let's hear it, Jennifer.
I'm going to tell you, I've changed the names for confidentiality, but I'm going to refer to these two ladies as Helen and Betty. And these sisters lived in Scottsdale. They were in their 80s. Betty's health was pretty good. However, she was very physically frail. She had poor insight and appeared to have anxiety. And Helen, on the other hand, had significant health issues, both physically and mentally. Betty had a degree and was in a professional role in her earlier career. They were living on about $3,000 a month. They lived together. Their rent was about $1,500. And that seems somewhat reasonable, but they each had a Medicare supplemental plan, which was right around $500 that they were each paying for their supplement plan. So they had a Medicare plan and a supplement, and they had to pay their Medicare monthly premium. So all of that together added up to about $2,800 a month. They were not doing well with that income. Betty was working part-time in a grocery store, and Betty fell and broke her hip, and so Betty was not able to work anymore. So once she was not able to work, things really went downhill fast. They couldn't make their rent payment, and they didn't know what to do.
And Jennifer, are we talking about people, did you say in their 80s?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of them are in their 80s. Betty did have an older car, and she still drove. So what we were able to do, obviously one of our goals was eviction prevention and, of course, keeping them safely housed. We were also able to identify several other areas that we could help them financially. We offered to apply them for SNAP benefits or the food stamp benefits. Helen did not want us initially to apply for those benefits because I think she still believed that she was going to be able to go back to work and get a professional career. But it didn't appear that she was going to be able to do that. We also talked to her about talking to one of our experts from the Area Agency on Aging about discussing their Medicare health plans. One of them could have gone on a Medicare Advantage plan, and then if they did do that, it would be a lot less expensive, and they could let their supplement go. The sister that was very ill, however, probably did need to keep her supplement because they covered everything, and she had some pretty significant issues.
Jennifer, do you mind if I pause you there? Because
Sure.
I have a feeling maybe the listeners might wonder this just like I am. When you talk about supplement, is that just a supplement to your insurance plan and there's a cost to that?
Yes, there
Okay,
is. I'm
okay.
sorry.
No,
There is. When you have straight Medicare, you can just have Medicare, which is an 80-20 healthcare plan.
Understood. Okay.
And you can buy a supplemental plan.
Okay.
And it doesn't cost very much when you first get it, but it continues to go up as you get older.
Right.
And sometimes they just become too cost prohibitive for people to keep
that's
those
good
plans.
to know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so what we needed to do with these two is we really needed to help them find a less expensive place to stay they were not going to be able to manage. And that was no easy task. First of all, they didn't want to move initially. So we just had to keep working with them and coming up with ideas and meeting with them regularly. The bottom line was eventually we were able to find them a place that they both agreed on. And the wonderful thing about this place was it was a place that had a continuum of care. So there was help for Helen, who had some significant health issues, and the rent was a rent that they could afford. So we were able to eventually get them moved. We were eventually able to get the insurance changed with their permission. We were eventually able to sign them up for food stamps. It was a long process, but it had a very good outcome. And I touched base with them, about 2 months ago, And they are super happy in their new location and doing very, very well. That was a wonderful success story.
That's a good one. And I like how that story kind of wove around because you were saying there were times when they weren't happy. And I guess who really does want to leave their home when you're comfortable, you're with your sister? That's a scary thing to do. So how did you, I have to ask Jessica, but like, how did you persuade them? Like, I mean, did it really take when you say time, did it take weeks of you kind of saying?
What really prompted them to realize they were going to have to move, I don't think I mentioned this. They had lived there for 28 years.
Oh, wow.
They loved the area. They had the same stores they went to.
Their community.
It was their community, and they didn't want to leave that area. But what happened was because of the income that they were getting, they couldn't afford that apartment, and they got an eviction notice.
So they really had to.
Yeah, a notice to vacate.
Yeah. Okay. That's scary when you think about people in their 80s getting an eviction notice.
And then imagine having to pack up and move your things after being in that apartment for 28 years. That was another.
Yeah. Another adventure.
Yeah, it was another adventure.
Change is so hard for people. I'm glad that it ended up being a happy story. But just going back to the benefits assistance that you were talking about, I want to do a plug for one of our services that we offer at the senior centers. We do work with the Area Agency on Aging at both senior centers, and they provide a free volunteer that comes out. You have to make an appointment, and he'll go over all of the Medicare plans and supplements. Is that right, Jennifer?
Absolutely. I don't know if people know this, but every single year, the drug plans change their formulary. And so it's very important that people make an appointment at the end of the year in October, and they can have their plan looked at. Make a list of your medications, and then want to make sure that the drug plan you're on, all your medications are covered, because it changes year to year.
Wow, and medications can be very expensive, so you have to pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, and good plug, Jessica. Good one.
Yeah, thanks. Just want to make sure we're getting all of our information out there. There's a lot.
Okay. Jennifer, is there anything else you feel? I mean, I know we're just scratching the surface. I mean, this is not a 4-hour podcast, but Jessica and I wanted to make sure, from your perspective, your social work background, all your experience in Scottsdale, is there anything else you would want the listeners to know about, like what's most important for people to know? Just that the resources are there and there is help available?
Absolutely. And I want people to, if they're able to get out. We found post-COVID, loneliness is a huge issue, and we're humans. We need connection. And so at the Senior Center, we really want to promote connections of all kinds. We have support groups, we have discussion groups, we have all kinds of things. And if you can't get out, social workers do home visits. So we can come to you if you need us to come to you to assist.
That's really good to know. And I'm glad you mentioned the loneliness. I mean, I guess, even personally and with aging parents, you do see your world gets small. And, like people who can't drive anymore, I think they feel stuck because you can't get out. So I guess I hope this isn't, I know we didn't necessarily prep for this, but for transportation, if you are someone who's lost your driver's license, what's the solution to that?
Scottsdale has several programs. We have the Cab Connection program. We have
Dial a Ride. Not Scottsdale, but
it's East Valley Transit, I think is what it's called.
Some of it, yeah. We should do a separate show on transportation.
Yes.
You think that would be worth it?
Absolutely. It's the old Dial a Ride. But Joan Freeman with the city, she is phenomenal. And we often will refer to her. She will talk to folks and find out what's the best mode of transportation for them, the cheapest. We have several really great options. And, of course, the free trolley if you're on the trolley route.
Yeah. Interesting that you said loneliness, though, because I think that is a topic, and that's something we're going to continue to focus on as part of the Vintage Voice podcast, just how many opportunities there are out there in senior services in the city of Scottsdale, actually, to help with the loneliness element. But Jessica, I hope you wrote down on your notepad transportation and seniors. We should talk about that.
Yes, it's going to be an upcoming episode. So let's talk about, Jennifer, tell me about our second annual Dementia Friendly Fair and what that's all about, because I know that you are the head person of this event, and it's one of our signature events that we added to Senior Services special events. Tell us all about the event and who's going to be there and what to expect.
Well, I am super excited about our second annual Scottsdale Dementia Friendly Resource Fair, and that is going to be held April 15th. Doors will open to the public at 8:30, and it will go till noon. We have two dynamite speakers. We have Janice Greeno, who is the state lead for Dementia Friendly, and we also have Lori Nissan, and she's going to talk about ambiguous loss. Each of them will speak for an hour, and then I have an array of amazing agencies and vendors that are going to provide lots of information for those that have family members that might be experiencing dementia, or if you just want to learn more about dementia. Scottsdale became a dementia-friendly city right around 2019, I believe, somewhere in there. And then COVID hit, and we kind of stopped things a little bit because everybody was buttoning up. But we really are trying to move forward. We want to raise awareness, reduce the stigmas, and be a kinder, friendlier community to those that are experiencing dementia.
And helping their families take care of people with a dementia.
Absolutely.
And that's at Granite Reef Senior Center, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry. That is at the Granite Reef Senior Center.
Okay, perfect. It's exciting.
Yeah, so just to wrap that up, April 15th, 8:30 to noon, Dementia Friendly Resource Fair from 8:30 to noon.
Excellent.
We
guest
hope
speakers.
to see you there.
Oh, she's whispering to me one more thing.
I just want to put a plug in. Not only do we have recreation programs, social services, health and wellness is a very important to all of us at the senior centers. Currently, we are hosting the Forever Fit class right now. That is a 10-week exercise program that also discusses nutrition, and we recently combined this course with Blue Zone philosophies, and it's been a huge success. We hope to have another Forever Fit class in the fall at the Via Linda Senior Center, and this is a collaborative effort with Honor Health, with Scottsdale Community College, with the senior centers, and of course with the Blue Zones. So be watching for information in the fall about upcoming Forever Fit classes.
Aren't we lucky, all of you, that we have such strong partnerships? I mean, you just mentioned some of them, and I like to do a review of that. Scottsdale Community College, Honor Health, amazing, Blue Zone, City of Scottsdale staff. That's super cool, Jennifer.
And this program is free.
Yeah, free. I know, free. People love free.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's very popular. Well, thanks for joining us today, Jennifer. I hope that the listeners got some good information from you. I learned a thing or two, even though I work side by side with you every day. So thanks for that.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. I always have to mention, I mean, I know you can't see podcasts, but doesn't Jennifer Murphy always dress the best? She really does. She's already wearing like this great orange dress right now with fabulous earrings, great shoes.
Fashionista. I wonder if her closet is color-coded.
Is it?
No.
Liar. You're a liar. It is color-coded.
I'm not going to admit it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today at The Vintage Voice. We are looking forward to bringing you and your family more of all things senior in Scottsdale. Stay vertical and stay vibrant, Scottsdale. Till next time.
Woo. All right, thanks.